This is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening. But it was nothing like other parts of the country where snow is beginning to alerts stretch.
And we have seen some issues today on some of those roads. On some other roads, though, we've been perfectly fine. A lot of us have seen flurries. Others have seen some snow showers for today. Let's go ahead and take you to Interstate 75 over into parts of London. You're seeing just those gloomy skies, kind of some wet roadways, but really conditions have not been too bad. Looking over into Pine Mountain, though, that's a totally different story. Higher elevations have seen a little bit more of that snow for today and even got a little bit slick up there, and it'll be a little bit slick as we head into tonight. Satellite and radar is starting to see it die down just a little bit, but we're still going to hang on to a few of those snow showers as we head into the rest of the evening hours. So as we scan the skies now, you're seeing a little bit of blue as you are popping up on the radar, maybe parts into Perry County, especially those higher elevations into Harlan County, Letcher County, and a little bit over into parts of Breathitt. Temperatures are starting to get chilly. Most of us near freezing. You're seeing those lower 30s in Jackson, Pikeville, Wise, lower 30s in Harlan, 36 if you're looking down into Williamsburg. So we have that winter weather advisory and winter storm warning out. This continues until about 1 a.m. tonight, but what does the rest of the week hold? I'll have more on that coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you. I've switched microphones. Should be good to go now. Well, some Knox County residents were renovating their home when they noticed a man in a back room. That man then used wood screws to seal himself inside that room. The homeowners called police, and as WYMT's Phil Pendleton tells us, a canine finally brought the man under control.
Knox County residents were renovating their home on Thanksgiving Day when they noticed an unwelcome guest in a back room.
They'd been in the house for over an hour. Didn't even realize he was there. Went to go in that door and it was shut. They couldn't get it open.
Emerson Johnson apparently was not there for dinner, but police say he refused to leave.
He'd actually screwed the door shut with wood screws.
Officer Eric Martin and his canine Chomby responded, and Johnson, still armed with that screwdriver, still refused to leave.
I'm not sure exactly what his intentions was, whether to hit me or the dog. He did try kicking me and the dog when we first went in.
Police say the homeowners don't know Emerson Johnson, and they also don't know why he chose their house to break in and then seal himself inside an inner room on Thanksgiving Day.
Gave several commands for him to come out.
Police say Johnson refused. When Johnson started kicking them, the dog was told to bite.
The dog bites were on both legs. In our training, he's trained to bite the arm and the leg.
Johnson finally surrendered and was charged with burglary, assault on an officer and a service animal, and resisting arrest. In Knox County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
We went to the Knox County Jail to see if Johnson wanted to talk to us, but he declined. A Pulaski County man is facing a long list of charges after a police chase. Somerset police say Jeffrey Grimm had a warrant for a parole violation and would not pull over when an officer tried to stop him. The chase hit speeds of nearly 90 miles an hour. Officers eventually found him in a parking lot. Grimm is charged with speeding, wanton endangerment of a police officer, and running from police. During the holiday weekend, Leslie County Sheriff's deputies arrested 6 people in several meth-related cases. Deputies say one of the more notable ones involved 15 grams. The street value, they estimate, about $1,500. In that case, investigators say they pulled over Dustin Bowling. Justin Sinners was a passenger. Deputies stopped Bowling because they say he was driving carelessly. In his car, they found what is believed to be meth, pills, and scales. Bowling faces drug possession and trafficking charges. Sinners was arrested on a bench warrant. Experts say one of the worst places hit by the drug epidemic is right here in eastern Kentucky. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talks to people who came together in Harlan County today to try and stop the effects of drugs in our region.
The drug epidemic is a battle police face every day. The hardest hit might be the kids.
This right here is what always comes back to my mind. This is a drug raid we'd done years ago, and as you can see right here is a meth generator and it has a combination of very dangerous chemicals. And as you see, it's surrounded by baby food.
Nancy Hale, the CEO of Operation Unite, says the solution comes down to 3 pillars in the program.
Law enforcement, that's the UNI, Unlawful Narcotics Investigations, T, treatment, and E, education.
All working together on the same goal, to prevent abuse of drugs and to help addicts recover. That mindset is what brought people from across the region together at the Harlan County Drug Summit on Monday.
All of us are here because we want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Every family has been impacted directly or indirectly, as we have seen.
By coming together,
hope is alive, and every life is valuable and worth saving.
they hope the end of the drug epidemic is possibly within sight. In Harlan County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
If you need more information about Operation Unite or how to get help or to cope with the effects of addiction, you can call the Unite hotline at 1-833-8KY-HELP. A terrifying scene today at a Wisconsin high school. A student was shot by a school resource officer inside a classroom. It happened in Waukesha, a suburb of Milwaukee. The police chief says a student warned the officer another student had a gun. When the officer confronted the student, the chief says he refused to put the weapon down and threatened the officer. That's when he was shot. The student is stable at a hospital. No officers or other students were injured. A top U.S. diplomat made a stop in Cardinal country this morning. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was joined by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell at the University of Louisville. Pompeo touched on his Kentucky connections, including the time he spent stationed at Fort Knox. He also discussed recent pro-democracy protests like the ones we're seeing now in Hong Kong. Today's visit was part of the McConnell Center's Distinguished Speaker Series. For the first time in nearly a decade, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments in a gun rights case. At issue is a New York City handgun regulation that had put tight limits on a licensed gun owner's ability to transport firearms outside the home. As CBS's Skylar Henry reports from Washington, the case has reignited a larger debate about gun rights.
What do we want? When do we want them?
Supporters of gun control rallied on the steps of the Supreme Court as justices weighed arguments in a guns rights case for the first time in nearly 10 years.
We are fighting because Trayvon Martin can't. We are fighting because Tate Jackson can't. We are fighting because Tamir Rice can't.
The case concerns a New York City regulation that blocked licensed individuals from taking handguns outside of the city limits. 3 gun owners who challenged the city rule and the NRA's New York affiliate argued the restriction violated the right to bear arms.
This is part and parcel of the kind of regulations that have no basis in text, history, or tradition and should not be upheld.
It's unclear whether the Supreme Court justices will reach a judgment in this case because New York City has already dropped the restrictions.
The case is moot. It is a case that should not have gone forward to this point.
City officials urged the court to throw out the case before Monday's arguments, concerned the high court's conservative majority could use it to broaden gun rights.
The Second Amendment is not supreme. It's just one of the many rights and privileges laid out in the Constitution.
While the liberal justices indicated they supported a dismissal, conservative justices Samuel Alito and Neil Gorsuch seemed ready to decide the case. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
The court's decision is expected by June. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, we'll talk to some local business owners about how they compete with Cyber Monday.
And we'll see a few snow showers as we head into tonight. Clouds continue for your Tuesday, but sunshine, I promise, will return pretty quickly. We'll have more on that coming up in just a little bit.
Construction for a new way facility near the Floyd County and Johnson County line is underway. Coming up on Marianne Fletcher, and I'll show you why this is important for drivers like me and you.